All right, guys, it's Dave here from Metal Ruse, and we've got Matt McGauchy from Cryptopsy. Did I say your name right?
Matt McGauchy.
Okay, cool. I actually just got ChatGPT to do the translation for me. I'm like,
Really? The phonetic breakdown of McGauchy.
it is quite hard. Actually, it said it that way, and I'm like, I don't think it is that way, but yeah, it was.
Well, I never helped either because I had my podcast Vox and Hops for so many years. I would always start it by going, "Hey, what's up? This is Matt from Cryptopsy," and I never said my last name.
Yeah, all good. All right, so you guys are, I got it here, but December 14th you start. That's right, yep. In Auckland, so not too far away.
Correct?
You're
Yeah,
in Asia now.
that's right. We're kicking off this also vile Asian, New Zealand, Australian tour. Starts tomorrow. We are here in Dubai.
Yeah,
We flew in from Montreal, and we're heading all across Asia, hitting up a bunch of places that we've never been before, places that we have been before, and then we're coming back to New Zealand and Australia to wrap up this massive tour right before Christmas, and we're really looking forward to it.
yeah. You got Christmas off.
We are going back home for Christmas. If not, my family would not be happy.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta kind of do the Christmas back from tour, don't you?
It's going to be very, very intense, but a wonderful experience to come back home always, especially straight into the heat of Christmas.
Yep, yep. And then you've got our heat, our actual heat of Australia. We're
Everyone keeps telling me. So there was we have the band chat, obviously, and we were like,
yeah,
what do we pack for this tour? And I was like, well, everyone's telling me that it's really hot in
it will be.
Australia, so we got to pack shorts and pack light
Yeah.
because apparently it's quite warm where you guys are. So I mean, I'm excited to lose some water weight while headbanging with a bunch of amazing Australian fans.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's just getting into like today was it maybe 34, 35 degrees Celsius. So
Wow, yeah,
yeah, so that's pretty warm.
that's yeah, yeah,
And that's only
it's
just
pretty hot. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we
Wow,
get
yeah.
to like 40, 42 quite often.
Holy, wow. In Montreal, it gets warm. We had a few heat waves this past summer, but nothing close to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, heat wave for you is a totally different thing, yeah.
I know it's still quite warm. It was like 40 degrees for like days and days in a row, but it's an anomaly and it shouldn't necessarily be like that.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So heading over to the tour, what can we kind of expect set list wise and show wise?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Cryptopsy. I can say this because I'm not on the album. One of the most important death metal records from the 90s. I'm talking about None So Vile. So starting next year is the 30th anniversary of None So Vile. So we are celebrating it a little early by playing a bunch of our favorite tracks from None So Vile. We will not be playing the album in its entirety
Yeah.
because we also want to showcase the newer era of Cryptopsy. And there is only so much time. There's only so much extreme death metal you can package into one setting before people's brains just turn to mush. So we are going to be playing a lot of the vast majority of None So Vile, but we are also going to be showcasing and playing a lot of the newer era Cryptopsy material from As Gomorrah Burns, material from our newest album called An Insatiable Violence, which came out on June 20th via Season of Mist.
Yeah.
We're really excited about the response for that record. So leading up into this, we're like, no, it's important. We have to showcase the new stuff as well.
Yeah, totally. I think people always, people do love the old, playthrough albums, but I know, like, if well, I'll be there, but I like to always hear the new stuff as well, especially like you've got some yourself, you were in the band back then, obviously. So to hear stuff that you've written and done, I think is
Exactly. And there's also we toured with Death to All, and they were honoring two albums at a time, I think, for that tour. And we thought it was very interesting and unique the way that they didn't just do the albums from top to bottom. They would like mix and match and sort of like put on like a spectacle that keeps the crowd on their toes. Because if you know what song is next, you can like be like, oh, the next one's like you're excited about the next song, but there's nothing special about it. There's no excitement to it. You know which song you can go to the bathroom and not miss anything. We didn't want
Yeah.
that. We wanted to keep it really fresh. So by mixing and matching with the non-Solval material spliced in with the new material, it creates a really dynamic set list.
Yeah. Awesome. We'll look forward to it. I'd like to go over to your vocals and your vocal range and stuff like that. You know, it's you're very well versed in obviously the death metal style, but how have you kind of kept that going over tours, kept your voice? Because you do have quite a range. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, there you are. I think you're back
I
now.
just crashed. That's all. I'm sorry. Yeah. You were saying vocal range. How do I keep it up and how did I get it going?
Yeah. I guess kind of just give
Perfect.
us
Yeah.
your take.
I fell into being a death metal vocalist when I joined Cryptopsy. I wasn't a death metal vocalist.
Yeah,
I was an extreme vocalist. I worshipped Mike Patton. That eventually really
yeah,
got me into experimenting with what I could do with my voice, trying to do screeches mixed with howls, mixed with clean vocals. The gutturals just kept sort of leaking their way in. A huge influence for that for me was George from Cannibal Corpse. I picked up their record Kill. Funnily enough, it's that
legend.
cover but that cover, which is such a simple cover, is the cover that inspired me to go grab that record, which is so funny because it's their most like placated and dumbed down album cover versus everything else they've ever put out. But that's the one that got me for some reason.
Yeah,
And I fell into Cryptopsy. I got the opportunity to join. I took the opportunity. I got the gig. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm in a death metal band. I'm going to have to become a death metal vocalist. And that truly just happened by touring and getting out there and being on the road and having lots of opportunities to experiment with my voice in different settings, having conversations with iconic vocalists like George,
yeah,
like Travis Ryan from Cattle Decapitation, touring with Aborted, and just learning from people that are, had much more experience than me, and then trying to put into practice those theories that they were sharing with me. And just over and over and over time, eventually I became a decent death metal vocalist.
yeah. Thinking back to you at your stage joining to you now, what would your thoughts be? You know, like I would never get
Oh,
there.
for sure. Yeah. I would probably be happy and impressed that I could pull off what I could pull off now. But if I could like go back in a time capsule and whisper something into my ear, it would be to really just relax
Yeah,
and just let the air do the work. And there's much less physicality that needs to happen than I thought I did back then. Back then I was really pushing and forcing and trying to get this sound out, which was actually hindering my performance versus helping it in any way. There was never any damage, but I was just constricting the sound so much that it created a very strange note when I did like a weird frequency would come out that we would always have to scoop out in live performances or in studio performances, and it was a hindrance. I was really, really trying to give it. I was trying to be as brutal as possible, and that's what was holding me back versus just letting my body resonate and allowing the air and the flesh the opportunity to do what it needs to do.
yeah. It's funny talking about the Cannibal Corpse cover. Some of the early Cannibal Corpse covers were banned in Australia. I think they were banned in a few places. And
Germany, for sure, yeah.
And there's some album covers that are still banned here from those days. They just never lifted that.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a forever life ban, and they're still banned.
Wow.
It's nearly 2026. How
Wow.
crazy is that?
And then every horror movie comes out and gets advertised and pushed,
Yeah.
and it's far more brutal and far more hypothetically influential than, well, big on a mass market scale, for sure, much more influential than extreme death metal covers.
Yeah. Insane. Out of all your kind of new stuff, what do you love performing, new song wise and stuff like that? What really gives you a big
Oh
draw?
yeah. There's like this thing that's been happening on our records for the past two records since As Gomorrah into an Insatiable Violence, and it's this really gritty, nasty, uneasy, dark feeling, like an ominous feeling of melancholy, and it really resonates on the track Malicious Needs, which is the last track from An Insatiable Violence. It has this like very like mechanical, um, just an odd sensation when sonically when it comes out and when everyone comes together. It just creates this weird ambient, and I love that track. The band, we all really enjoy that track, and we've been like working it to be the new closing track for Cryptopsy shows. We used it as the closing track in North America when we just wrapped up our tour with Nile. And
Yeah.
we are bringing it on this tour and hoping that it has the same success that it did over there. But I love that track, the dirtiness that sonically creates, and then when the rhythmic parts come together, the groove elements, they hit so hard. So very exciting, and I can't wait to play that every night in Australia coming up soon.
Good. Yeah, we're excited to see it and hear it. So heading over to Vox and Hops. So give us a little bit of a backstory on that, and is there any kind of stuff, advice other musicians have given you that you've actually taken on board or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, Vox and Hops was my podcast, is my podcast that I started, launched it in 2008. I launched it in 2018, October 2018. It spurred from a need that I had to fulfill a void that I had in myself. My guitarist, Christian Donaldson, is a fantastic producer, is always very, very busy when he's at home and we're not touring. So he had that going on. Ollie had just joined Cattle Decapitation at that point, and Flo came to a band practice and said, "Oh, we found a singer for my new project with Rune. Um, and it's David Vincent from Morbid Angel." And I was like, oh my God, like all of my boys have something going, some sort of side thing going. I'm gonna be jealous of them. And I know myself, so I didn't want that to happen. So I needed to find something for myself. And at that point in time, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, so I jumped into it and said, well, if all these people can host a podcast, I can host a podcast. I've been interviewed enough that I must be able to interview other people and try to keep it dynamic and interesting. So I launched the podcast in 2018, as I said, and it was all about my love of craft beer because I'm a huge craft beer nerd. So,
Yeah.
so basically, I got inspired by the Jasta Show and the X-Men. The X-Men from Doc Coyle was definitely a huge influence on my podcast. But so is Jerry Seinfeld, because Jerry
Yeah.
Seinfeld has comedians in cars getting coffees. Mine was more so metal musicians in bars drinking beer. And
Yeah.
that's really how it started. And then it sort of blew up. It was doing quite well up until the pandemic. And then during the pandemic, I'm sure as you know,
Yeah.
everyone was available. So anyone I wanted to ever thought about talking to,
Yeah.
I could talk to all of a sudden. So there came my episodes with, like Randy Bly, um, Jamie, just a whole slew of people that
Yeah.
I basically got like a cheat code, speed pass to jump to the top of the press line because of
Yeah.
the pandemic. So I was dropping like 3 episodes a week. I was moving at a crazy rate. publicists were like bombarding me with a bunch of press questions, press requests, trying to get me to cover their artists.
Yeah.
And I just wrapped up the podcast. It is now on hiatus. I dropped episode 500 back in June of this year,
Yeah.
and I am fulfilled. I am happy that I did everything with the podcast. I've learned so much, more so from my personal organizational skills. First off, the ability to stay on top of things and meet deadlines and organize stuff in my crazy brain of knowing that I have stuff to do and just getting it all accomplished. Because as you know, dropping episodes is a lot of work, from that first email saying, "Hey, do you want to be on the podcast?" to the final social media post is approximately 7 hours work I put
Yeah.
in guesstimation. So that times 500 is a lot. But
Yeah.
also my ability to just sit down and have a conversation with anybody and sort of connect with them. I can do that with
Yeah.
any person now, and that's thanks to the podcast. What have I learned from other people? A lot of really good hangover cures.
Yeah.
That was always my classic wrap-up question was, what is your hangover cure? But as I've gotten older and more wiser, I've adapted my own hangover cure, which is to just drink less and to drink more
Yeah.
water and to be more responsible. And when you want that one last beer, it's often better just to have a sparkling water.
Yeah. I've learned through the years is quality, not quantity. So I love craft beers too, and whiskeys.
Yeah, no, I would be at the quality, but I would keep going sometimes, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And then you're wasting the quality because you're not appreciating it the
Yeah,
way that
that's
you would
right.
if you would have
Yeah.
waited for the next day or maybe even a day after that.
And in Australia, you've been here before, yeah? You've toured here before.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Have you tried our craft beers?
I haven't. I released a beer in Australia, and I should have checked it out because I had the same conversation with another press for this tour, and I can't remember the brewer's name, and I feel bad
Yeah.
about that.
There's really good craft beers here.
I'm looking forward to trying a bunch of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll love it. All right, so I guess we'll finish off. You're about time now, but I guess what's something outside of metal that's in your life that you're into, or that you do that people wouldn't think that you do?
Yeah, well, probably the oddest thing that I do is that I'm an early childhood educator, so I work with very, very young children when I'm at home, when I'm not on tour.
Not your typical
Albeit I
death
am
metal vocalist job.
no, I am working a lot less recently. It was much more interesting when I could say that when I would be like, I go home and I'm a full-time childcare worker. But I do work less because we are touring a lot more and I need to focus on the band right now. But I am a trained and educated early childhood educator, so I tend to work with 3, 4-year-olds, and I've been working at the same childcare establishment for almost 15 years at this point, and
Yeah,
they are
right.
wonderful, and they let me leave on tour. They've been flexible with my schedule, but as I've told them, I will go back when the band quiets down, and I will retire from there at 65.
Do you use your vocal techniques on the kids?
I don't. I don't have to. I sometimes
No.
like there's like we have a nice like yard in the back of the center. It's like a forest, we call it.
Yeah.
And I do chase them sometimes using the death metal vocals, but never in a like this. Like I'm not trying to discipline them by screaming at them. I save that for my children at home.
Yeah. That's it. All right. So we'll December 14th through to where are we now? Sorry, to the
The
20th.
17th, the 18th. That's right. We got Canberra. Oh no, we got. Hold on. I got off the top of my head. Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah.
We got Auckland. We got Wellington.
Yeah.
We have Canberra. We have Melbourne. We have Sydney, and we have Brisbane.
Yeah.
Is where we're hitting all throughout that oceanic section. So New Zealand, Australia, Cryptopsy's coming back. Also, Vile is coming. 30 years of None So Vile. A bunch of new tracks as well. We're very excited to be back, to come and party with all of you. Get in the pit. I want to see you go wild.
Sweet. All right. We'll see you there. Thanks heaps for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. You be good.
Right. See you
Cheers.
later.
Bye bye.